So today we're going to be installing some IronWolf 8 terabyte NAS hard drives. These have 256 mega cache and should give us the right speed in RAID 10 array that should have a good balance between performance and also redundancy. Because RAID 10 is a striped and mirrored. So 2 of your hard drives are striped and then the whole thing is mirrored. So you have 2 stripes and then they mirror that. It's a 16-inch fan. We're going to mount it up. We're in a temperature switch relay.
You keep wiping the Jeep.
Guys, you're sweating on everything. The whole floor, you know, I can't step up and
Okay, we didn't have to move the exhaust. We didn't have to jack up. We didn't have to do anything.
Look at that. We're going to install these SATA hard drives in these racks built into the hard drive. So this is going to be easy because, man, it's already, you just stick them in there. It's got these little straps that hold them on. This will be a breeze to replace hard drives. So if you ever have a hard drive issue, this would be no problem to install. Okay, so we have one hard drive, and you don't. Basically, on your hard drive, you have these connections on the back. So this is your power. This is what plugs into your motherboard. So when you look at sticking in here, you have these screw holes right here. So you just slide the cover in place and make sure your screw holes line up. Try to avoid touching the circuit board at the bottom of the hard drive. And then you take and pop in. You have, it basically just pops in and it holds the hard drive right in place. To install the hard drive, you just simply slide in, make sure that it's open at the bottom, and then it just catches in place. And you can slide all your hard drives in. These really easy to, I guess, swap out if you need to. What would be really nice is if they plugged into a actual power at the back. To plug in your hard drives, this is where it becomes really easy. They're keyed so you can just simply plug them in place. Hold the front of the hard drive so you don't push it out. And make sure it's not going in sideways. And there you go. Everything is installed. So for this build, our son is going to be using the Dark Hero. The thing about a motherboard is it is the heart of your system. And without a good motherboard, basically your highway system is dead. This is all the roads that lead to processing power. You don't want no dirt roads, do you? We want some interstates. We got some right here. So when you open the box, you want to take it out? You have your Dark Hero motherboard. Let's not put it upside down. And we'll remove this plastic cover. And if you see right here, basically your RAM goes here, your power supply, your power connectors from your power supply go in, and then you have your hard drives that go under here. So should be really fun and easy to install. But we're going to be putting a solid state hard drive in this thing, which
No, it's just plastic covers.
Which is plastic covers that we just dropped. No. But we're going to put some solid state hard drives in this thing. We're going to load it up with 128 gig of RAM and we're going to be using a AMD processor. Is that?
The processor is an AMD 5950X.
The AMD 5950X. So will be a lot of fun. And I love that it just has like Dark Hero right there. That looks pretty good.
16 core.
Republic of Gamers. So 16 cores should really wake this computer up. Okay, so now we're going to install our motherboard. This is the back of our motherboard on this mounting plate. It doesn't go towards the back of this unit, it's like here. It goes towards the top because all your mounts come up through the top. So when putting your motherboard on, of course you want to handle with care. And I'm like, my son should be doing all this because it's scary. And you'll see that all this back place right here is exposed. This will help alleviate heat as well. And then you take and you place it over the screws. Make sure you get it mounted over the screws and hold it somewhere where you're not touching circuitry. You can touch the edges to help line it up. And then you'll put the screws in. Use a Phillips head screwdriver. Don't use the power tool because you can jack some shit up. Okay, so when you're putting in your motherboard, just use Phillips head screws. These came with not with the motherboard, but with our case. And they go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. This also comes with your Wi-Fi. So you plug in your Wi-Fi. It comes with a RGB extension. RGB, that looks like something or another. And your SATA hard drive cables. And this jumper cable. So this is a power. So this is PLED power ground. So this is an LED connection. Looks like a jumper cable. And as he's plugging this in, we'll get back to you once it's done so we can put our motherboard in place. If you see on this mount for our level 20 HT case, all the cables come in through the bottom here. So it should keep it clean. But we're going to, we're not going to mount the case yet because we're going to mount our CPU, our RAM, and our solid state hard drive. And we'll go ahead, we'll mount the video card once it's installed in the case. It's going to go up. Now that we have our motherboard bolted down to our plate, this is how it's going to mount in there. You see all our connections for Dark Hero are mounted up. It has a lot of connections into this thing. The cool thing about Dark Hero is you can reset, if you get a bad set of BIOS, you can reset the BIOS to the last BIOS. That's just a cool fact of the Dark Hero. But we're going to install the hard drive, which is going to be this, what is this?
XLR8 PNY.
Yeah, what he said, which has a awesome read-write speed. This has, for load times, your read speed is at 7,500 bits per second, megabytes per second, not bits, megabytes per second, which is screaming fast, which is going to allow any programs you open or when you're just starting a computer, that to happen really fast. Your up or write speed is 6,850 megabytes per second. So that is going to mean you're going to install programs faster. It's going to write information back to the hard disk faster. All you gamers out there may love that. And 5-year warranty. So we pop this out of the box. Let's see. And should let my son open this. He bought it. But these things are so tiny. So tiny. And it has foam falling out of it. I think my son's going to actually take this heatsink off, which his heatsink is awesome, in favor for the Dark Hero. I don't know if that's a great option. We may just leave it in like that. What do you think?
Sure.
We can mount it on the bottom one. It doesn't say there's a difference in speed. I would think your top slot would be faster, but I read through the manual. It doesn't say a preference. So we may just install this at the bottom, save this piece, and mount this right there. So to remove these covers, you have a screw hole on the front here and the back. And it just lifts up and the screws stay. And of course you want to drop it on your motherboard. And then to mount your hard drive, it goes in this slot right there. So when installing this, it does come with a little package of screws. They come with a extender that you'll need to install to extend where your hard drive is going to mount. It's right here. You just screw that down, and we'll just do it finger tight. That should be good. And then we'll go ahead and we'll install our solid state hard drive. And you don't have to push it you don't have to push it that hard. And then you'll see right here, it mounts right there. And you'll take the other screw that comes in the little package. It's microscopic. And we'll screw that down. Be sure to have yourself a small screwdriver. So if you can see, we got the screw in. It's back here. And we're not putting the Dark Hero cover back over it. Even though it does have this cool tape on, the fins of the Dark Hero motherboard plate and the fins on the hard drive we got are a lot bigger on the hard drive. So the LR8 is going to be some massive cooling going on. Okay, so we're going to be sorry, that's my NAS starting up. But we're going to be installing the AMD Ryzen 5950X. This is the 9 series. This is currently one of the top series, unless you go with Threadripper or what's the other one? Epic, which are both $1,000 processors. This one not so much. So we're going to install this on the motherboard, and we're going to be using Thermaltake. So right here we're using the Thermaltake. This is a water-cooled system. We're going to be using the hard tube water-cooled system. And we're going to be going with AMD, of course, and all these pieces. So we'll show you how these pieces, or not this piece, show you how all these pieces work and when we get them installed. But really not looking forward to the solid core I'm really not looking forward to the solid piping for the cooling system. He picked it up. I was like, soft. You did no bending required, no heat gun. I sweat when I get hot. But we're going to do it, and hopefully it works out. First, we got to install this CPU and the cooling system.
Yeah, we'll take our time doing the hard tubing.
Right now he's taking off these little pieces because they don't work with the AMD kit. We have to use these pieces for AMD, which is much more fun. And I'm guessing they'll span across here. We're going to go ahead and mount our AMD processor. So you have a little flippy switchy thing here. You just lift up. It locks your CPU in place. They use such a big box for these things. And it even comes with your sticker, so you can stick it on the front of your case. Show everybody what you have. Or leave the sticker off. We'll make it a sleeper. Okay, so when you take this out, you want to make sure you don't touch all the little pins at the end. You see here all these little pins? Don't touch them. And then if you look on your motherboard, it should point out where you install this. Because if you look here on this, you'll have a different, like a triangle. And our triangle is right there, and they match up. and you don't hammer the sucker in, you just drop it in place. If it doesn't sink down, don't force it. And once it's down, you just slide your little clip in place, and it is installed. There we go. So after we get the little clippy deals on, we're going to have to install this thing. This is the fun part, because we have to actually raise it. It installs at the bottom of the motherboard. So this makes it where this case comes in really handy, because it mounts right here. And it looks like we're going to have to take these screws out to mount it, which is for our factory mounting system, which is right here. So we have to replace our factory mounting system with the new mounting system. Fun. You always buy the hard things, because this has to go over this right here, and it lines up with them factory screws exactly. Don't push too hard down your motherboard, you could crack it. Back in the day when I used to build computers for a computer company I owned, it wasn't near this hard. Just slap a proc in, throw a heatsink on top of it with a fan, and you were done.
Catching you up to modern times.
I know all this modern crap. Okay, so we have that installed or removed. Now we have to install, we need this kit, which comes from the back, and that has these screw heads that go on the front. They have little washers right here, it looks like. So I'm going to lift it up again, and we'll put this in place. And then on the back you have this little shield thing that comes off, that stays off. So when you mount this on here, with this facing down, so you don't touch all your electronics in here, and it looks like it's going to go in. Does it look like the top two squares? Can you look at that?
Yeah, looks like the top two squares.
Is that what mounts on the bottom too? Can you see light through them?
Not the bottom right one, but
It's close, okay. And these little screws, when they go in here, they're keyed so they don't spin. So you don't have to put a driver on the back of them. Yep, that looks like it. So it's the furthest one. Put this one in right here. And that mounts, that works perfectly. Okay, and we'll mount in the same spots on the bottom one. You see I'm doing these spots right here. If you have the same motherboard, and the last one, this thing looks universal for pretty much every motherboard out there. And there we go. Now we'll go ahead and set this down. Man, these are long-winded. Now on your motherboard, try to avoid touching anything that's shiny. Okay.